Since its founding in 1992, SUSE has been traded around a bunch of times. In 2003, they were acquired by Novell, who were then acquired by Attachmate in 2011, who then merged with Micro Focus in 2014, who then sold SUSE to EQT Partners in 2018, who are still the current owners. Following this, in 2021, SUSE went public with a projected value of $7 to $8 billion. EQT Partners retained 75.7% of the ownership, and the rest was sold initially at $30 a share. That is, until a few days ago, when EQT Partners indicated that another change would be happening. Not a new change, reverting that change from 2021. EQT Private Equity announces voluntary public purchase offer and intention to delist SUSE. SUSE is going private again. Its majority shareholder, Marcel Lux III Salle, from now on just known as Marcel, intends to take the company private by delisting it from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange via a merger into an unlisted Luxembourg entity in the legal form of an SA. SA is just their form of a public limited company. But I thought that EQT Partners were the owners of SUSE. If Marcel is the biggest shareholder, doesn't that make them the owner? Well, the way it's structured is a little bit weird, but fairly normal when dealing with multi-billion-dollar businesses. So EQT Partners is a Swedish investment firm. Marcel are a holding company they operate that own the shares for SUSE. So if something goes wrong with SUSE, it separates the liability from their main company and puts it onto the holding company. You know, normal stuff you do when dealing with multi-billion-dollar businesses. I've seen some confusion regarding this unlisted Luxembourg entity. Some people thinking, they're going to be purchased by Microsoft, SUSE, Microsoft Linux. Like, I don't think that's what's actually happening here. I think what's happening, and the most likely explanation, is it's basically just a fake company that exists for the purpose of taking the company private, making it look like on paper it's a buyout, when really it's just them buying themselves. As for it being in Luxembourg, SUSE already has their headquarters in Luxembourg anyway, so it makes sense if you're going to go private where your headquarters are. The office they have in Germany sometimes gets listed as the headquarters, but that's just their largest development office. As of right now, the recording of this video, it has not been delisted, but this is the plan. The offer document for the offer will be published by Marcel in due course, followed by an acceptance period of at least 4 weeks. Settlement of the offer is expected to occur in the first half of October 2023. Following the settlement of the offer, an extraordinary general meeting of SUSE to be held in the 4th calendar quarter of 2023 will resolve on SUSE's merger with an unlisted Luxembourg entity. This will result in SUSE's delisting from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. So if all goes well, they'll be delisted by the end of the year. The offer price per SUSE share to be paid by Marcel will be €16, less the gross amount per SUSE share of an interim dividend to be paid by SUSE to all shareholders. €16 represents a premium of approximately 67% on the extra closing share price of €9.605 on 17th of August 2023. This is considerably lower than the initial starting price, but it hadn't been doing incredibly well in that regard. Now, they're being very vague about why this is happening, saying things like, SUSE's management board and supervisory board support the strategic opportunity from delisting of the company, as it will allow SUSE to focus fully on its operational priorities and execution of its long-term strategy. And from the CEO of SUSE, I believe in the strategic opportunity of taking the company private. It gives us the right setting to grow the business and deliver on our strategy with the new leadership in place. EQT Private Equity and SUSE's partnership in a private setting has been fruitful before, and we're excited about the long-term potential of the company and our continued collaboration. Now, obviously, no one's going to say anything bad in a press release about the delisting, but there is some interesting stuff in here. We'll get to that in a moment. For anyone who does own SUSE shares, there is all of the numbers and all that magic information down here, so be sure to go and check that out. But I don't know how many of you actually do. Let me know down below. But very importantly, the buyout is optional. There is no obligation for shareholders to accept the offer. EQT Private Equity does not intend to pursue a squeeze-out. Therefore, shareholders who wish to stay invested in SUSE in a private setting may do so. But why would you go public and then basically straight away go private again? It doesn't seem like it makes any sense. Without knowing the internals of the company, nothing can be said with certainty. What I can say though is based on what we see publicly. The most likely reason is the enterprise Linux space has drastically changed since 2021. Back when they went public, CentOS Stream already existed, but mainline CentOS didn't get cancelled until around the time they went public, and it wasn't until this year of 2023 where all of the source code stuff happened with Red Hat, leaving this giant gaping hole where RHEL used to be. You might personally not think the Red Hat stuff is that big of a deal, and that's totally okay. But when you're a company like SUSE, and your direct competition is Red Hat, and there's this opportunity just sitting right there to steal some of their market share, you would be dumb to not try and abuse it. Over the years, SUSE has spent a lot of time and a lot of money building up software systems to help their users manage mixed environments, as in a SUSE system and a Red Hat system under the same ecosystem. And with them recently committing to dumping at least $10 million into maintaining basically a clone of RHEL and making that enterprise Linux source code available through the Open ELA, a partnership between Oracle, CIQ, and SUSE, it seems like they're trying to position themselves basically as the upstream of the enterprise Linux world. Previously, that was RHEL. RHEL, or more specifically CentOS, is what the enterprise Linux world was built off of. They see a possibility where they can take that position. I have no idea if they can successfully do so, but it seems like that's what they're trying to do. And being public just slows down that process. They have to worry about what the shareholders want. Oh, you know, I'm going to focus on this thing or that thing. Just get rid of the shareholders, go private, and it allows you to have the most mobility possible. At least as much mobility as a multi-billion-dollar company can really have that has thousands of employees. Don't get me wrong, a company doesn't buy back shares at nearly double the price out of the goodness of their heart to give you a bit of extra money. They are doing it because this is in their financial best interest to do so. They see this as a chance to leave the enterprise Linux world. I've seen some people concerned that this is somehow going to affect OpenSUSE, as if OpenSUSE existing was somehow linked to SUSE being a publicly traded company. OpenSUSE started all the way back in 2005. Back then, Novell still owned the company. They were very much a privately traded company. SUSE basically sponsors the OpenSUSE project. And if they wanted to stop sponsoring the project, I don't think them being public or private really has any connection to that. If they ever decide to do so, that's a whole separate thing. It's still up in the air what's going to happen. There is very little details about what's going on. Pretty much, this is the entire information. There's nothing else at this point. So we're going to have to wait and see really how this plays out. But if they're not trying to position themselves as the leader of the enterprise Linux space, I have no idea what they're doing. But maybe you do. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about this happening? Do you really care? Do you think it's pretty obvious they're trying to change the enterprise Linux space? I would love to know. So if you liked the video, go like the video. And if you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon, subscribe to the Parabay linked in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and I'd like some of that SUSE money. Money that I don't accept.